I welcome you all back to the channel. This is Asa Speaks of Studio. We are also known as MR Meets Retouch. My name is Biggs. Today we're going to deal with a very important topic, and this is going to be um, retouching tools under two categories: selection and sampling. So basically, this class is going to be two, and it's going to explain tools that are used in retouching, but under two category. The first category is sampling, while the other one is going to be selection. So let's deal with sampling first of all. Now these tools, they are very very important because you are going to come across them in when doing your retouching job, and they work similar but they are different. And why I would like to explain it is because I want you to understand the process and when to use it and which one to use in a particular technique. Okay, or if you want to do a particular fixing, you want to fix a particular problem, there is a particular tool you need to use in this category of sampling. Okay, so the name of the tool is this healing brush tool and the clone stamp tool. You can see them right here, the healing brush tool and the clone stamp tool. These two, they work similarly the same, but they are actually different. I'm going to dive deep and explain what they do. But before that, these two tools are used in retouching, especially skin retouching, and most of the time you use the clone stamp tool to fill in, and also you use the healing brush tool to fill in as well. But there are sometimes the tool won't give you the results you require. So I want to point out few points, or point out few things you need to know concerning these tools. Now, the common thing concerning them is that they have the aligned and this drop down: current layer, current and below, all layers, and you can see align. You can sample, so that's why it's called sampling tools. If you check here, you're going to see sample. You can sample them, you can align them. It also has opacity and as mode. So the four things that are common: 1, 2, 3, 4. This one. So let's go ahead and look at the clone stamp tool. This is a clone stamp tool. Yeah, the healing brush tool. Still the same thing. We have sampled, we have current layer, sample, we have align, we also have mode, and we have drop down, which is all this thing, which is also present in the clone stamp tool. So these two, like I said, they are almost looking the same, but they are different, and they have when to use them. So you don't just use them anytime you feel like, because they give you the same result. They won't give you the same result. So let's look at what they do. Now I would like to explain the sampling tool. For you to sample with this tool, it's actually easy. Let's make the brush bigger. If I select the clone stamp tool, I can sample this paper, Alt, and you can see I can move it anywhere I want to place it, and it will go there. I can place it anywhere I want to put it. So that's for the clone stamp tool. I'm going to undo that, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. So that's how to sample. Let's look at how to sample from this one too. Hold down Alt. Let's make it bigger. Now look at the sampling of this. Hold down Alt, sample, move. Now you can see the difference. I'm going to undo that and show you the difference quickly. Let's sample and take it to the side and click. So you can see that it's merged with the color, and only this place we have different it's not good. It didn't fix this place, but this place matches. Now let's go back to the clone stamp tool. I'm going to sample that place and place it here. You can see that this is different, totally different from the first one. So where the healing brush tool, we make things look nice and organized, the clone stamp tool, we copy exactly without using the content aware method to fix in the colors and the rest. It's just going to give you exactly what you copied, even if you reduce the brush size or the hardness of the brush, and then you copy and you paint. So you can actually see that it's not as clear as this one. Sorry. So now let's undo all those things. Now those are the two things you can that is common, you use Alt to sample. This same thing as this one, you use Alt to sample. Now the other common thing is they have this drop down, current, layer, current and below, all layers. If you check this as well, it has current, layer, current and below, all layers. Now it also has align. This also has align, which is a clone stamp to as align. We have the mode. This also has the mode. So this one has opacity. This one also has opacity. Does it have opacity? Okay, it doesn't have opacity. So that's just the difference. Now the common thing is they have this sample, they have align, which is very important, and the mode, which is common as well as this one. Now the fact that they have the same they function the same way does not mean that you use them in the same process. There are times you need to use the spot healing tool, and there are times you need to use the clone stamp tool. You don't just use it because you want to use it. Now I'm going to make that selection different. I've showed you how they work. Now let's look at how, let's see how this current and below works. Now I'm going to unlock this layer. Because this is the first one is current layer, I can work because we have only one layer, meaning the selected layer is what you will work on because it's the current layer you are on. So whatever I do, it's going to be on that layer. Now if I put it on current and below, meaning I need to have two layers, although it's supposed to still work here because it's on current and below. This is the current layer, but there's no layer below. Now the advantage of current and below is that you can turn it off and on. So let's do this. I'm going to select this one, select current layer and click. So this is actually telling you that the copy is on the current layer, but you sampled from both layer. So if I turn this one off and turn it on, it simply means that, oh, this is the two layer we're working on, current and below, and then I can turn off this one and turn it back on. So I'm actually going to delete it now and go to the clone stamp tool, add another layer as well. Let's say I want to copy this and place it and place it. So I can turn it off and on. Now notice how it's actually blend, but the paper is not clear. So the reason why is because we decrease the hardness. If I increase the hardness, it's actually going to be, you're going to see the difference. Now it's not actually clear because the hardness is on 0%. If I turn it up and I do, you are going to see the mistakes that are all there. So but the current layer is what we're working on, why we are not affecting this. And this two is common there, current and below, also here current and below. Now the reason why it's like that is that instead of you damaging this picture, you just need to convert it to smart object. But these two tools won't work on smart object. So you can see the sign. Even if I click on this one, it's not going to work. It's going to tell you cannot use clone stamp tool because the layer is to clone has been removed or deleted. So let's alt click, nothing can be sampled. That sign means that we can't work on it because it's a smart object. But the moment I turned it to rasterize the layer, I can work on it now. You can see the tool starts working. So once the all layer means if I have a lot of layers, let's say we have like 15 more layers, I can sample all, but I don't think you are going to use that in any retouching work because it won't give you the results that you are looking for. It's actually going to damage the picture, but you can still use it anyway if you have a lot of empty layers on the image. Now let's go. If I have two more layers and I set it to current and below, I don't think anything will happen. So it's on current and below. Okay, still happening. So I can turn this off, turn this one on. Let's add one more layer and let's see. Sample. Okay, still working. So but it's just sampling all the layers, current and below. Now if you put it on all layers, it's going to sample all of the layers. I guess because all the layers are empty, that's why it's still sampling. Okay, so that's just the two about the common thing about these two too, but they are different. You use them differently. So now let me show you why you need to use them differently. Let's go to this image. I'm going to go to the first one, which is this one. Yep. Now take a look at this image. Look at this air. I want to remove it. I can grab a new layer. Even this one is a smart object, so the layer, it won't work on it, you can see. So now, but we have this new layer which is set to also current and below. I won't turn on align. Align means, let me show you what align does. Let's go to clone stamp to select align. Now this is what align does. Ctrl Z. Let's say I am sampling from a highs. As I turn on align, whenever I move the brush, it's gonna move. You can see the plus sign moving. There's a plus sign I'm pressing there, it's moving. Now if I turn it off, if I sample from a ring, you'll see that wherever I go, it's just sampling from that same place and nothing is so I'm going to delete. That's what align done. So sometimes I turn it off. Now let's go back. Let's say we want to remove this air. If I go close to the air, let's grab a new layer so that we have current and below. It's on current and below. So this is the spot healing tool brush now. Now let's say I want to, let's make it smaller. I want to remove this air and I sample an area. Let's say I'm sampling somewhere outside and I want to clean. So as I do like this, you can see that it's copying the color of the air. It's just, you know, blending it. It's using the mixer tool brush, both the mixer tool brush settings and the clone stamp, sorry, the content aware tool. But how about, let's undo that. Let's select the clone stamp tool, sample an area outside and clean like this. You can see that it's giving us a perfect work without selecting. So you need to know when to use that tool. Now the best time to use this one is when you want to function, when you want to remove the air, the pimples. That's when to use this tool. You see that it's actually removing the roughness only, and look at this one now. So just bring it. Now let's say I want to remove this thing. I can just come here also and sample, but you can see why sorry, why you can use the clone stamp tool, because it's actually going to copy something. Now what does it copy? There are times I use it anyway, like this place I will use the clone stamp tool. I won't use the texture because I want to copy both the color and the texture. So if I copy and I paint, you will notice. But if I use the clone stamp, if I use the spot healing tool brush on that area, you can see that it's not even matching anyway. So there are times you need to use it. You need to keep trying, and if you want to copy both the color and the texture. So if you want to copy both the color and the texture, you use the clone stamp tool. If you want to copy only the texture, you use the healing brush tool. So you're just going to make the color the same but copy the texture like this. Now I can just remove that texture, but sometimes it won't actually work. Now let's say I want to fix in all this air, this side which is empty. If I take this, hold on Alt and I drag, compare that with this one, Ctrl Z, and use the clone stamp to sample. So you can see the difference. There are the two looks easy, but it's not actually easy. So when you want to fill a place with the color and the texture, you use the clone stamp tool. When you want to fill it with only the texture, you use this healing brush tool. The heal brush tool. So if I want to fill air with this place, I can use this one. If I change it to this one, and you can see what it's doing. That's the difference. So it will naturally fill it in. Only this will fill it in. So I'm going to do that, undo that. Now let's use the last example, which is this one, and let's take a look at our teeth, this picture, and look at our teeth. Now you can see that the color of this teeth, the wet lip is on it. So if I click on this tool and I sample and I remove, so it will get to a place. You can see that. Let's undo that, zoom out. I'm sampling and I'm clicking. So you can see it's not actually fixing, it's damaging the teeth. So we can use that there. We need to use the clone stamp to sample an area and just boom, fix it. Come here, fix, come here. So the tool, when you use this healing brush tool, it's not good to use it at the edge. For example, I just sample a place and I want to fix this place. You can see that it's actually copying, merging this color using the mixer tool brush to merge to blend the colors, and using the content aware tool. So undo, we can use the clone stamp to instead copy and just paint like that. So that's when to use the clone stamp tool, when especially at the edge you use the clone stamp tool. Then if you want to copy only the texture, so take a look at this place. If I use this one, which tool? This healing brush tool, sample a place and I cover, it's actually going to work because I'm removing the texture, that is the roughness. So but we can also still use this one. Let's say we want to remove this smile. I can just sample an area close and remove. The tool will work fine, but I would rather prefer using the what's it called now, the heal brush tool. So somewhere like this, I can use this one. So you can see that it's copying both the color and the texture. Now let's see what the healing brush tool will do. Heal brush tool, take, so you can see what it's doing. Although it's the color is still there, you can see the blackness. So if it is the clone stamp tool, it's actually going to remove the color. Sometimes I use the clone stamp tool to fix the color, the correction of the color, sorry, the correction of the skin rather. Ctrl Z, sample, and so you will notice, you can see how beautiful it is from afar. Instead of using, now it's on all layers, you need to put it on current layer, so it's just going to sample only that. So that's all about these two tools. Now let's take, for instance, you want to fix this eye. Which tool are you going to use? That's correct, the clone stamp tool. You can use this one and just hold down Alt and start. You see what it's doing. It's actually using the content aware, the mixer tool and the content aware procedure. But if you want to fill in texture and color, you use the clone stamp tool. So you can just blend, you can see what it's doing and fill it in, and that's just that. Okay, so thank you guys. That's all under the sampling tool. The last one is just this brush, and I think you already know that holding down Alt is just to sample the color, and the brush color will change to that size. You can see the foreground color change to that. See, Ctrl Z, I can hold down Alt, sample green. So those are the two tools, important tools you are going to come across when doing retouching, and I showed you how to use them in the course of the training. I'm going to explain how to use them in doing pure retouching job, portrait retouching, retouching of skin, and all of any other type of retouching jobs. So see you in the next one, where we're going to talk about the selection tools that you will most likely use.